No, I had to look at me and go, you know what, Nancy? Every decision in your life led you to this point. So it is your responsibility. But with responsibility comes agency.
So, you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. Welcome back, everyone, to Call Me CEO. This is your host, Camille Walker, and today we are going to be talking about how you, especially if you've ever been overwhelmed by money or business, or you're trying to do it all as a mom, this episode is for you. I'm joined by Nancy Benet. She is a CPA, entrepreneur, and CEO of Fix It Accounting and Success Your Way. Nancy helps women entrepreneurs to build business aligned with their deepest desires while mastering their finances with confidence. But what matters with her story and what makes it so powerful is that after divorce, Nancy found herself with 4 kids, no job, $650,000 in debt. And instead of letting that define her, she helped that to fuel her to find purpose and building a business from the ground up. And now she has 2. So we're going to be talking about resiliency, financial empowerment, how you can find your way and build a business where you can feel success and be present as a mom and a CEO. So, Nancy, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's so good to have you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. So tell me, we've been chatting a little bit. Tell me a little bit more and take me back into that season of life of being in a place of $650,000 in debt. That's not where you are right now. When I read that headline, I was like, what? That's such a journey. So, yeah, tell us a little bit more about you and then also take us back to that place where you were with your 4 kids, no job, and 650,000 in debt.
Yeah, so I had become a CPA way back. I wanted to be a CPA since I was really young because my mom had a friend that was a CPA and he had a really nice life, and my family was poor. So that's what I really wanted. And so I did all the things to do to get there. But then when I got the good job part, ooh, I hated it. I was not happy in that. So I jumped ship and went to be the corporate controller at one of the CPA firm clients that I was working at. And I thought, oh, this is going to be better. It was worse. And
Mm.
I was very unhappy. And so I just ditched all of my pre-planned career goals, really in just a matter of weeks, and said, I'm done. And skipped out to be a stay-at-home mom and start a business with my husband. And fast forward a few years, I was a stay-at-home mom mostly and helped with the businesses. But 5 failed businesses later, I ended up 45 years old, divorced, 4 children, no income, $100 a week in child support, and $650,000 in debt from the failed businesses. And at the time, it was truly devastating. It was really, really bad. I had gone back to work just and gotten a job because I had to feed my family. It just wasn't going well. But then that job ended because the company got sold and they moved all of the accounting functions to Colorado. Well, I live in Florida and I couldn't uproot my family and move there. So I was like, okay, I'll just collect unemployment for a while and get another job. The problem was it was a recession and there were no jobs. And so I was like, wow, what am I going
So
to
are we
do?
talking 2008 recession? Is that where we
Yeah,
are?
so this was in the
Okay.
2009,
Uh-huh.
10 timeframe. And really things had not recovered from that. And there just were no jobs. Or if there was a job, it was had thousands of applicants. And so there was really no way for me to do that. And I realized I had to go back and start another business because there was really nothing else to do. So I ran into this guy who was an older man named John, and he wanted to retire. So we contracted for me to buy his small tax practice. And I thought, okay, I'll go back into the accounting world, but at least this time I'm the boss. I
Yeah.
can do this in my way. And so we went under contract, and I went out looking for office space, and I signed a 3-year lease. And the day after I signed the lease, he backed out and gave business to his daughter.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty devastating, but truly, those things were some of the best things that ever happened to me
Mm.
because I'm going to hit some points here. All those other businesses, we quit. Like, oh, well, this isn't working. Let's do the next one. Well, this isn't going like we wanted. So let's do the next one. Oh, well, that's not going so well. Let's do the next one. And I think you have to have resiliency in business. You can't quit. You have to
Hmm.
just pivot and figure out something else to work and keep pivoting and keep pivoting. And we didn't do that. And we didn't reach out for mentorship. I think mentorship is a really important point here. And, don't be afraid to pay for that because it does cost, but find somebody that's been there and done what you've done because that was something I was truly missing in those days when we were failing. But here I am, no business. Now I've got this big lease to pay. And I just decided I made this very impactful decision, this intention to make this work. I said, I don't care. This is my only option. I'm going to make it work. And when you have that kind of attitude, doors open. I'm telling you, doors open. And so we tried a few iterations of things that didn't work, but then landed on one that did. And it was sending these beautiful wedding invitation looking letters to people who had federal tax liens filed against them. And
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, making it pretty made them open it. And so we got business from that and it worked. And we started with our county looking up because it's public record in Florida.
Hmm.
And so our county and the surrounding counties, pretty soon we were doing the whole state. And it was spectacular. And I enjoyed it so much because we got to help all of these people who were truly suffering. They had lost everything during the recession. And it was so fulfilling to be able to help them. But that really didn't go so well after a while because the IRS would shut down for certain things, like government stalemate with the budget, shut down, and no liens would go out, and our income would dry up. Bam, gone.
Mm.
Or a hurricane would hit, and we've been getting hurricanes every single year, and it would just dry up for months at a time. And so I realized I had to do something different. And this is another great lesson in business. You have to pivot. When something's not working anymore, pivot. So we did, and we went to a recurring service model, and that is where we are today. I have the CPA firm. It has 13 employees, and we service a good many clients, mostly doing fractional CFO type work, which
Hmm.
is high value work for our clients with recurring revenue. And it just has worked so well. And I'm very happy to be here. And so after doing that and hearing the same thing from clients in the office all the time about who had started businesses and had done it the wrong way and needed guidance and didn't ask for help when they started, that's how we got Success Your Way going because I realized I'm saying the same thing all the time. And so if I can bottle that, if you will, with an online class or two or three, then it will work really well. And that's what we've done. And we're very happy to be where we
Oh,
are today.
that's so wonderful. Now, when you say you started this business, you have this lease, you've been talking in the term of we. Did you have a partner at that time
No, I
or?
did not have a partner. I had a part-time bookkeeper.
Oh, okay. So that's the
Yeah.
we is you had a
That,
part-time bookkeeper. So it's the two of
yeah.
you and you
Yes.
were figuring that out. I'm curious about the experiences that you had with your previous husband. You said five failed businesses.
Yeah.
How did you dig out from that debt that was linked with him and get a new loan? Like, what was that? I imagine that was pretty hard and messy. Like, how did you build and do
I
business, but also have that debt? Like, what did you do in that in between?
Yeah, so the $650,000 in debt was from all of those businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of said, sorry, I'm not dealing with that. It's all on you. And so I could maybe have filed bankruptcy, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that debt was attached to my mother. And I didn't want to cause her distress. She was helping me raise my kids. It was not her deal. It was mine. And so I decided, I just it was just a decision, an intention. I'm going to clean this up. And it took a really long time to get there, decades, okay, 20 years or whatever to get to that place. So it took a long time to get out, but not really as long as I expected. Because when you shine a light on your financial problems and open yourself up and talk about it, the secrecy gives it power.
Yeah.
But when you open up and talk about it, it opens doors and people will help you. And so I had people that really helped me. One in particular, she was an attorney I knew, and my mom had been sued for foreclosure, and there were this problem with this home equity line of credit. And I called her, and it was so hard to call somebody that I viewed as so successful and say, I'm a financial professional, but guess what? I got $650,000 in debt
Hmm.
and I have this problem. Can you help me? But she did. And she was so gracious and so beautiful and so helpful, an angel in disguise, truly. And I think they're out there for all of us, somebody that can really help you work your way through it. Because once you shine a light on whatever it is, it loses a lot of its power. I just said, I can't deal with it all. I'll take some baby steps toward it. And I did. And all of that is gone and has been for a really long time. I have more debt than that now, but it's all good debt on things like real estate. And, we own an office complex where the CPA firm and Success Your Way are housed. And so there's debt on that, but it's profitable debt.
Yeah. That is such an interesting, I love that perspective of looking at it, shining the light on it. Is that, I'm curious, just building up that resiliency because coming from a place of literally your heart is broken, your finances are broken, you have these four children. How did you build that resilience in those early days? What did that look like for you taking those baby steps?
I love that question because you can't build that without doing things. And so it was the baby steps that built it. Every day I stepped a little bit further outside of my comfort zone. I did one little thing that made me super uncomfortable, and I just did it anyway because I knew I didn't have any other choice. There was nowhere for me to quit to. I was stuck. And being in that place really helped me because I was a quitter before, remember? You can't forever be a quitter. I had to stop. And I really had to also stop blaming everybody else in my life.
Mm,
And I think that's one of the problems in our society is we're pointing fingers and blaming, well, it's my ex-husband. Well, it was my mother. Well, it was my money attitudes that were imposed on me growing up. No, I had to look at me and go, you know what, Nancy? Every decision in your life led you to this point. So it is your responsibility. But with responsibility comes agency. And you can build past that. You can gain your confidence back. You can work your way out of it. And as you do each little bitty step, it gives you more and more confidence and more assurance that you can do it. And that's how I did it. It was no big leaps. It was all tiny baby steps.
You mentioned something about your money mindset. Is that something that you worked through? Maybe your understanding of money or pushing through money. It's interesting, especially where you're saying, I'm a CPA, I know these things, like money is my language. What was that mindset shift for you that you worked through to help you find your way back to success?
That's so great because as I said, grew up in a household that was poor. It also had a very poor money mindset. So in my household, money didn't grow on trees and money was dirty.
Mm,
So it's scarce and you don't want it in your life because it's dirty. So every time money came in, if it came in, I had a hard time getting it to come in. When it came in, I sent it right back out because it was dirty. And so I really had to change that. And that was later. I got rid of all that debt and stuff, but then I still couldn't keep money. And it was so frustrating to me. I would be, I've got a lot of employees and I would be ready to run payroll and I'd be, oh, I don't have any money. So one day I was talking to my friend, I was having lunch with her and I said, oh, I got payroll this week and I got no money to pay it. And she was livid with me. She said, really the best advice. She said, you can't do that. You have responsibilities to other people. You need to raise your zero because I would spend down to zero. You need to raise your zero. And so I really changed my money mindset by digging out all those old mindsets, if you will, that I didn't need anymore and replacing them with new ones. And so I made this resolution with myself, an intention. I said, I'm going to save up to $30,000 because that's what will make me feel comfortable being able to pay my people. And then I'm going to increase that all the time. And my friend taught me how to do this. And I thought it would take a year to do. And I had that $30,000 in 60 days. It was incredible because
Wow.
when you intend something, doors open. When you really
Name
execute
it.
your intention, when you take your baby steps toward your intention, doors open. And so it did. And I was like, wow, how did that happen? That's crazy. So ever since then, I increased that because, and it's reduced my stress so dramatically that I'm like a new person. And it really made me think about our money mindsets because we are saddled with ways of thinking that aren't necessarily our own. They come from our families and our culture and all the marketing messages that we receive that you have to have this to be happy. So undoing all of that was quite a process, but it's totally worth it. And since then, written a book called Tame Your Money Monster, and it has a companion course and to really dig into those money mindsets and figure out how to replace them with an abundant mindset.
Mm. You mentioned befriending money. What does that mean to you?
I make it my ally instead of my enemy because it was always so fear producing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us are in that space where there's so much fear around money. And when you turn money into your ally instead of your nemesis, something to be mastered but instead turn it into a helpful resource, which is truly what it is. It's a resource. There's plenty of it and it's very helpful in our lives. That switch for me was profound because now I don't have all that fear. And I was not able to switch that until I really built up my money a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
I did that and I wasn't worried about debt when I was trying to build that new zero because I needed that money in my bank account to feel safe and secure. And I know
Yeah.
that about myself. And so when we have that, even if we've got debt, that makes us feel better. And so I would highly recommend saving first before paying off your debt
Yeah.
because
Just so you can have a breath, not feeling like day to day is a huge risk. Now,
yeah.
you're helping a lot of women entrepreneurs, you're helping them build security or a sense of identity that is outside of that money and wealth, but really befriending it. What are some of the biggest mistakes, money mistakes that you see women entrepreneurs make?
There's lots of money mistakes all the time. And, when you step into the world of entrepreneurship, your money needs change. It's not the same as being in as an employee when somebody's withholding taxes and stuff. So the biggest thing I see is that they didn't make any estimated tax payments. They didn't consult a tax professional and they end up owing a lot at the end of the year and they're super surprised about it. They don't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and how could they know if they don't have advice? So build your tribe, build your team, find that CPA and that attorney and that, all the people that can help you when you're new in business because you're going to need them and your coach too, or your mentor, because those people will help you be successful and help you do things the right way.
I love that. If there's because I think sometimes it's an avoidance where it's like if I don't see it and then I'm not worried about it, but I don't know what it is. So if there was someone who is perhaps listening to this and afraid or has that avoidance, what would be a good first step in terms of facing that in a way that doesn't feel too overwhelming?
Yeah, don't do it by yourself. Find somebody to help you that maybe has some experience with it. So my daughter, actually, she had a similar money mindset to me because she grew up with me. And she was working here at the CPA firm, Fix It Accounting, and she came in my office one day just in total tears. And I couldn't get a word out because she was sobbing so
Mm,
hard. And I was worried. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" But finally, when I was able to get her to calm down, I realized she was in really deep credit card debt and didn't know what to do. And so I just used, my little way of helping her. And we laid it out together and shined the light on it and made a plan for her to get out of debt because she didn't have a plan before. It was just sticking her head in the sand, hoping that it would go away. And it just didn't. And it got to a point where she couldn't pay the minimums. So
mm,
we made a plan and it was so beautiful because she thought it would take like 2 years for her to get this plan executed and get rid of that debt it with working extra jobs and doing, gig work on the side because she was about 25 or 26 at the time. And I don't know, I think it was like 90 or 120 days she had had it handled. It was gone.
Wow. That's so
Yeah,
cool. I
it's
love
so
that.
empowering.
Yeah, because it's taking what you've learned and to say, hey, it's okay. We can figure this out together. And I wish so much that this is something that was talked about more because it's like, don't talk about money and politics. And
Yeah.
really, I don't want to talk about politics, but I think we should be talking more about money because then it takes
Absolutely.
that facade out or that fear because it's the things we don't understand that we fear. And so with shining a light on it and really giving her those tools, I bet that was a really bonding and empowering experience for her too.
It was so wonderful, and she felt so good about herself. And what do you think that translates to in business? Because she was working here to learn how to do business. She wanted her own business, and since then she started one, and she can work from anywhere in the world. She's super happy. She's married. She's all the things that she wanted, she's got because she did that. It really empowered her in so many ways and gave her so much confidence. And we can get that. That's not isolated to just her. Yeah,
Mhm.
she was a 20 something with no children. It was a little easier for her, but it's available to anybody.
Yeah. What is a balance for you that what it looks like now that you have these two businesses and you're running things you mentioned you just got married. So you've
Mhm.
gone through raising the kids, you have adult children now. What does that look like for you in terms of building these businesses and having striking a balance? And I know there's no such thing as real balance, but what do you try to bring into your life with running these businesses and keeping yourself sane?
Well, I love running the businesses, and the CPA firm basically runs itself. My team is so great. That's a long-term business. I've had, I think we're year 16 now for that one. So I've had plenty of time to build the systems and the team that make it work without me. I don't have to be here every day, which is wonderful, and that affords me time to do the other businesses because I do have Success Your Way, and then there's several real estate related businesses and a franchising business for the CPA firm. So my problem is that I would work all the time.
You love
I
it.
love that, but I am newly married, and so my husband wants to see me, so I cut it off. I'm out of here at 5 o'clock, and I go home with him, and I am present with him. I do not let clients or anybody else have my cell phone number. I turn it off. I put it away because we need that time to connect with our families. And my kids, two of them, as I told you, have moved back into our guest house, and it's really nice to have them there. And, just having that family time is so important. And I really, unless you're just getting started, you really need to find that time and get your business set up to where it doesn't need you 24/7. It not only gives you some sanity, but it also makes your business more valuable if it can operate without you.
Yeah. Talk to us about that a little bit because I do think that's the ultimate dream of building something that obviously in the first 3 to 5 years, it's you're going to be wearing a lot of the hats. It's going to take time to turn a profit. But what are those steps that you took? I mean, uh, you said 20 years that you had that debt and it took 20 years and that you were also building and growing and that it wasn't the end of the world. So take us back into that process a little bit. What does that look like so that you went from that place to where you are now?
Well, it took 20 years to get the debt. It did not take 20 years to get out. If I,
Oh,
it
I
was really,
misunderstood
I'm
you.
going to
Okay,
go
tell
with
me how long
like,
it was.
I don't remember exactly, but I'm going to say maybe like 7 or 6.
Okay,
It was
that's
short
amazing.
comparatively because I shined the light on it, because I had intention about it, because I just said, I'm fixing this and taking responsibility for it. Um, so yeah, it was quite the process to get through that, but it's totally doable. And I'm sorry, I forgot the rest of the question.
So, with coaching other women that are trying to shine the light on say, their debt or growing their business and going from, building a life to where you are now, this is very high level. Obviously, we can't get into the weeds of everything that looks like. That's what you coach and what you do. But what would you say in terms of, building the team, growing out of a place where it was just you and that bookkeeper to now being in a place where the business doesn't require you to be in the weeds of it so much. You're able to remove yourself and kind of create more space.
The biggest thing with that was joining a group of people, like-minded people. And I joined at first a smaller business group of people who had smaller businesses, and I was, kind of one of the larger ones in there. And then I graduated to the bigger business group. You had to have $1 million in revenue or something to get in that group. And I got there, and those people had such a different mindset. The people
Mm,
in the smaller group or the smaller business group were all like putting out fires every day, and they were running and they were frantic basically. And I got to the group of these people with bigger businesses, and they were calm. They didn't work all the time. They were relaxed. It was a whole different environment. And I was like, I got to know what you guys know. Please help me. And so they did. And I've worked with them. And then I hired a coach and a mentor. And I've been working with him for probably, I don't know, many years now. And he still helps me. He's probably in his mid 70s. Amazing human that has really helped me put this company in a place where I don't have to be here all the time. Um, and also just having the right people on my team. That's one thing he helped me do is get the wrong people out, because when we're new, we're hiring people. Oh, you're my friend. Here, come work with me. But sometimes that just starts to fall apart and it doesn't work as well later. So he helped me get that fixed and situated and help them move on to something that's better for them and bring other
mhm.
people in that would fit better in our culture and our team environment. So that was really important, but also longevity. I have had time to nurture my people. Like three of them have been with me longer than 10 years.
Wow.
And because they've got that history, it's easier for them to know what to do.
Hmm.
They just do it and it just runs smoothly. And one of them is that admin person we had talked about. Having that admin person for me has been tremendous. And whether it's a virtual assistant or an in-person assistant or admin person, it is so valuable to take things off of your plate so that you can focus on the bigger vision of building your business and getting it to the right place rather than all the minutia inside of it.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I believe in that. I talk about that all the time. That's actually what I help entrepreneurs do is to hire a team member, a virtual assistant, and that can just free your mind to be the decision maker, the big vision thinker, and
Yes.
help your team scale. So that is really awesome. So I'm wanting to hear a little bit about the challenges that you're facing right now with growing your business. Are you working in a way that marketing, like what is working for marketing and promotion right now? And what would you like to see grow in that way? Like, what is something that you're kind of feeling sticky about that you want to work through?
Yeah, it's funny because Success Your Way marketing is extremely different
Mm-hmm.
than fixed accounting marketing. We don't do any fixed accounting marketing on social media. We're out there, but we really worked on the SEO and we use Google Ads, and that's really a great place for us to get clients. The phone just rings off the hook. But in the Success Your Way business with the online courses, that's been more difficult for me because I'm 60 years old. I'm having to put myself out there on social media. And that's, for those of us that didn't grow up in the era of social media and doing selfies and being in front of a camera all the time, it was really hard for me to make that switch. But I knew that it was important, so I just made an effort and did it. It's like stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Do something you're not used to doing. And I think, it's been trial and error trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. But all of it is good. I've learned so much and I'm so happy with it. And I really have come to enjoy the social media part of it, which is crazy because I was so resistant.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. It's about even I've done it now for 15 years and I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I'm tired. So the fact that you keep showing up is just amazing because it really is. You have to pivot and change. And this is the era that we're in where people want to see your face. People want to do business with people and people want to see who you are and what you have to offer. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a CEO rapid fire question series. I did not prep her with these before. So this is just first thing that comes to mind and whatever. We've had a lot of helpful tips from you already, but these are just kind of for fun. Okay, so in one word, money mindset.
Abundance.
Mm. CEO habit you swear by?
Ooh, journaling.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Oh, journaling helps empty your mind of all the loops and twists where you're just running in circles in there. I get that out on the paper, and this can't be done with typing. It needs to be done with longhand, with
Mhm.
writing, the pen and paper. So I always carry a book with me, but that really helps me get my thoughts, looping thoughts off on the paper, and then start solving the problem. I can start writing ideas. And my favorite one is what if? And people use what if as a negative. What if something happens? Mine are positive, like, ooh, what if we did this? What if? And so many amazing ideas have come from that.
Ooh, I love that tip. I love journaling. So the fact you said that is huge. I love that. What is one thing you've delegated that changed everything?
Um, Invoicing and collections because I'm way too nice. I was like,
Ooh,
oh yeah,
yeah.
you can't pay right now. That's okay. No, my office manager, she's in charge of that. She's like, no, we don't send your tax return out or whatever without payment. All the monthlies get paid up front. She made a huge difference. I think our receivables were, many tens of thousands of dollars when she came, and now it's very low. So
That's
that was huge
amazing.
for me, and it took the stress away from me because
Hmm.
now I don't have to say to somebody that I like, oh no, sorry, we're not doing that. She does it for me.
Love it. Yes, I love that. Best advice you've ever received.
I think that's going to be the new $0 amount that my friend told me about. That has been so dramatically impactful in my life.
I love that. Well, this has been amazing. Tell our audience where they can learn more about you and your program and your services.
Successyourway.com and fixitaccounting.com. And of course, on all the socials for both of those. And you can reach me on LinkedIn as well. And reach out at info@successyourway.com. That comes straight to my inbox.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, if this episode spoke to you, and I know that it did, take a screenshot, share it on Instagram, and share how you are going to change your money mindset. What is that one little step of abundance that you could change to help you get from one level to another? I was inspired by Nancy, and I want to tell you that if you're ready to level up to that next step of a CEO, whether it's building systems, creating a business that supports your life, or moving up in a way that makes you feel more comfortable and confident, I would love to help you. Am a one on one coach, and I also put together masterminds of entrepreneurs that help to build themselves as CEOs. And that oftentimes, and you heard Nancy say it herself, that it's surrounding yourself with the right people with the right mindset that helps you to turn the dial and make your life even better. So you can reach out to me at callmeceopodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your rating and reviews. That helps other women to inspire them and to help them find that next step of their journey. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Hey, CEOs, thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you found this episode inspiring or helpful, please let me know in a comment and a 5-star review. You could have the chance of being a featured review on an upcoming episode. Continue the conversation on Instagram at Call Me CEO Podcast. And remember, you are the boss.